talk about this. First off, remember to check IC. I have warm-ups in there from last week. A lot of you did, many of you in here, I think like 6 or 7 kids, didn't pass their warm-ups in from last week. Remember, if you miss volleyball, if you're gone for volleyball, football, cross country, you're absent, you're sick, you have an appointment, you still must do the warm-up, exit ticket, and homework. I still had kids writing, oh, volleyball game.
Zero.
You still must do it. So if you're sick, you still must do it. If you miss class, you still must do it. Where do you find the work in order to do the warm-up and exit tickets? Tyler? On the Google Classroom. Let's say you don't have internet over the weekend, or you don't have it, period. You can't find it. What should you do then? What? Yeah. Come in early in the morning. Okay, what would be another time? Lunch. So those are your 2, lunch, recess. Those are your options. To come in, get caught up.
Or your house.
Okay? No. All right. So homework, check. I'll go back over this in a second. So community property. Tell your partner about the community property. Okay? So I was listening to some conversation over here. Community property allows me to switch numbers around when we are adding. Now, that was very important that they added that, because if you're subtracting, you just can't switch numbers around. But if you're adding, you can take the numbers and you can switch them around. So that brings us up to here, and you can see I have a negative A here minus a B. So because this is a subtraction sentence, here I turned it into an addition sentence. When subtracting a positive number, it's like adding a negative number. They're exactly the same. So now I take this number sentence. It was subtraction. Now it's addition. I take it and I can move it around. So I move B to the front, A to the front, or A to the back. So now it's negative B plus negative A. This and this are exactly the same. And because this is the same, so is negative A minus B, which is like adding a negative B. So those are equal. And the commutative property lets me do that. So we have 3 expressions down here. I would like you to share with your partner, and when you go to share, look at some of these ways to talk. Okay? Because this is some of the ways that I would like to see you talk today. Maybe you say, like, I disagree because. Or another way I thought about it when they explain how they got an answer. Maybe that's what you can use. So use one of these when you go to talk. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Go. Talk about those 3.
So the first one is
Hazel, join. Right behind you. Push back and join Nina and Daniel.
plus 2 negatives does not equal A plus adding a positive.
Trey, that was really smart. That's awesome. Really smart. Do you agree with it? Disagree?
Because you can't do 5 minus 8 and get 8 and then get 8 minus 5 and get
You want to have these down. Okay, on your paper.
But I got confused.
Well, but there shouldn't be much confusion with. Ready, Travis? Write down the following expressions. Okay. You can write those down, and then you can at least then you're closer to being done.
Actually, if you look at the example, never mind. Or wait, yes, maybe, kind of.
Right? Hey, write down the following expressions. You just can't tell me if it's equal. You got to write them down.
The first one's not.
But you're doing a good. He disagrees. Okay, did you explain why? Right? Okay. You guys already.
Yeah.
What do you think about the first one?
Yes. Because
Yes, because. Thank you.
there's the same value. You're subtracting this, or you're adding the same values on each.
Okay. Right.
Hi.
All right. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about A here. So A. And this is where those algorithms really help us out. So here I have a negative 3, 0.002 plus a negative 2.34. So basically, I am adding, whoa. So basically, I am taking a negative and adding a little bit smaller absolute value, negative, so I know my answer is going to be an even greater negative. So over here, I take a positive, I'm adding a negative, and the positive is smaller in absolute value terms than the negative. So if the negative is greater in absolute value terms, I know that my answer is going to be a smaller negative, right?
Yeah.
Do these look equal? No.
No.
Not equal. So A is not equal because here I have a negative 2.34. Over here I have a positive 2.34. And I'm adding in both of them. So even though I'm adding, I'm not taking a negative 2.34 and moving it to the front. I made it positive. So they're definitely not equal. What about B? Hasi, you want to help? B?
They are equal to because when you're subtracting, because when you are, well, they're equal to because when you're subtracting negatives, it becomes positive.
It's like adding a positive. So here, I'm subtracting a negative, and we know that subtracting a negative is like adding a positive. If I was to write the algorithm for this, it's a positive minus a negative, which equals an even greater positive. Look over here. Positive plus a positive, we know that's going to make an even bigger positive. So those are equal to each other. C. Ideas on C?
Yes.
You say yes. Why? Tidwell, why?
Because, because it's a negative, subtraction to a positive, and it's the same algorithm. It's just the numbers are switched.
So I noticed exactly what you said there. You said, here I'm adding a negative, right? This is not adding a negative. Here I have a negative. And that we know subtracting a positive is exactly the same thing. And then here I'm subtracting a positive, which is like having a negative. Nice work. Okay.
They are equal or they aren't?
They are. They are equal. That was the hardest one, C. Okay, because I'm switching the signs on you too, and both being negative. That was a tougher one. So today, basically what we just did, creating algorithms for subtracting negative numbers, kind of like what I was doing, that's what we're doing. Again, this is day 2. So I want everyone to turn to, and you want to have down, guys, you want to make sure that when it says write down the following expressions, and this should say then evaluate if they are equal. It means you needed to write these down. Because if you just write equal, you don't know what you're looking at. So if you think about the rubric where you get 3 points, you don't write those down. You're automatically just saying, yeah, 1 point, see you later. So, and then you can't even use it, which is even the more important thing, is that you understand what you got. So make sure to follow the directions when I ask you to write them down, because it's super helpful when you go back to use your notes. Please turn to, in your books, I think it's page 44. Okay. We're going to look at D quickly. So D, what number do I start at on D? Because if I think of my equation that I'm going to write, it could be something like this, where it's like, this is the number I start at. Then I have some sort of change, and we've been calling change n. And then this is the number I end at. So what number do I start with, Tyler? Positive 60. And then, do I know what my change is?
Yes.
Carter? Oh, look at it again. Negative 100. Okay, and then do I know what I end at? Negative 40. So that's the number sentence that I would build off from this. How do I know this is where I start and that's where I end? Daniel?
If it just says minus 100, you know that you're going backwards.
Okay, you know you're going backwards, right? Good. The other thing I can notice too is that here is just the dash and the arrow stops there. So I know I went this way. Right? And if you're going this way, you're losing value, and that loss in value is showed by a negative number. Thumbs up if you got that?
Yeah.
Whoa, thumb up, thumb medium, thumb, okay, all right. Notes. Please have your notes in front of you. So an algorithm represents, yeah, it's too small. There you go. An algorithm represents a set of rules for figuring out a math problem. Okay, no, Travis, it's fine. We use algorithms to help us figure out subtracting and adding positive and negative numbers. So here I have an expression. I don't even have an answer to this expression. I have a negative 9. I'm subtracting a positive. I know that this answer here is going to be an even bigger negative than this one. Because when you subtract a positive, you're moving further left on the number line. So this would be the expression that goes with this. Over here, what do you notice about this? Someone tell me. Travis, what do I have?
There's no change.
Okay, we don't know the change. Awesome. So, what is this? This is a positive minus something equals a negative. Yes? Well, think about it. If I subtract a bigger negative, what's that like? Adding a positive. That's not going to give me a negative.
Oh, and a bigger positive.
It's subtracting an even bigger positive. Right? I start with a positive. I subtract a bigger positive. That gives me a negative.
Small negative.
Does that? So you kind of see how you do that? Go ahead, talk to your partner about this one.
Negative 6.
You and Hannah, Travis. Hazel. For today, turn around and work with them. Hazel, come on. I'm going to expect work out of you today. You know I will. So you can do it now, you can do it later. That's your choice.
My body is
All right, Mr. Z. So, Mr. Z, what'd you guys get? What'd you and Brady?
Wait, what?
What'd you think here? Let's start. Hey, we can fill in, right? We can go, well, this is subtracting a negative. That equals a positive. So what is going on here? What could be the answer? Tyler?
8. Positive 8.
So if I put a positive 8 here, subtracting a negative is like adding a positive. So that's not going to work out, is it? Yes?
Would you have to do a bigger negative? Yeah. Because it's like...
So this could be a negative,
Yeah.
and then it would be negative. A smaller negative than this, right? Because this has to have a greater absolute value. Why does it? Because you're subtracting a negative. So this negative's absolute value is smaller than that one. Because this one has to be greater because it puts me in a positive 2.
You do like 6 minus negative 60. Yeah.
We know that it's not, the negative value here has a smaller absolute value than that. So it can't be bigger than negative 6. It's got to be smaller. Because this absolute value is greater than that in order to get a positive. Trey?
Negative 4.
Good work. Okay. Write an absolute value expression. So we're going to work more on this today. Right now, absolute value expression is show the difference between the points 5 and 15. What does absolute value mean? The distance from 0. So basically, I want to show you what this is. Will not take long. This means this is a value of 15 from 0. This is a value of 5. So if I put 0 here and I say that's negative 5, 10, 15, 20. Here's negative 10. I plot my points. Negative 5 is here. Negative 15 is there. So write an absolute value expression. It would be negative 5 plus 15 could be one expression that I write here. Could be, oh wait, sorry. Nope. Messed up. Because here I'm starting at negative 5. I'm going to 15. So I got the absolute value of 5, which is 5. So it'd be 5, adding some sort of change. And that's going to equal 15. And the change would be 20 because it would be 5, 10. Wait, I messed up here, didn't I? Oh, come on. You guys got to help me out here when I make mistakes like that. There we go.
I noticed that, but I thought you meant to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
20, you just expect me to always never make mistakes, huh? Yeah. So then I have my expression is this. An absolute value plus my change, it equals an absolute value of 15. That could be a possible expression that I would write from that number sentence. So you're going to be working on these today. We have about 20 minutes because it's a shortened day. Here is your tasks for today. D2, D3, D4, E all, and F all. Okay, you can do it on the back side of your notes that I handed out to you. What? Investigation? Yeah. Investigation? 2.2. 2.2. So your work starts on page 38, guys.
Can we do it on the back of the problem 22.2?
Yes, you can. Of course you can. That's the whole reason why I give you that paper. For the notes as well as you can write your answers on the back. If you need to go to the nurse, you need to have your pen. I don't have cap erasers.
I need the erase tool.
There you go. Just cross on it. It works just as well.
Oh.
I don't have cap erasers. Again. That's what it's asking.
Oh.
Minus a. Yep. What's that going to equal? Yep. Nice work.
I got like.
So what you want to do is apply those algorithms that we were talking about. As a negative, I add and Yep, yep. So apply the algorithms. So you want to tell them what the algorithm is, and then just check your work and see if it makes sense. Like here you have a negative, right? And you're subtracting a positive. Okay, you have a negative, and you're subtracting a positive. Which is going to be a bigger thing. Does that make sense? What? Yeah. Yeah. Negative minus a small negative. What's your answer going to be? You got it. Nice work. Yeah, in absolute value terms, right? That's perfect. Yeah. I like how I did the C brain looking through it. So if I take a negative, and let's say that's the large negative, right? And I subtract a
negative from a negative, which would you?
That's what you're doing. I'm subtracting a negative, right? But that negative that negative in absolute value terms is not as big as the first negative. So what's my answer going to be? Yeah. Good. Nice, man. Because it's not enough to make it positive, right?
That was.
Okay. Question?
Wait, but on the absolute value things, would you like with a negative? Isn't it adding
Negative.
15. Yep.
So subtracting the negative, which way do you move them?
Okay. So the question is, when I subtract a negative from a negative,
Oh yeah, it is
so
small.
put that here.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Subtracting a negative number, they move.
Okay.
Right. It's like adding.
I wasn't sure if that was.
It's a good question, Travis. It's a very good question.
It's gonna be.
You have a large negative in absolute value terms minus a smaller negative in absolute value terms. So when I subtract the negative, what's that like?
That's hard. So
Right here. When I subtract the negative, I move to the right. So that means it's like adding a positive. So now you got to ask yourself, which one has a larger absolute value? So what's my answer still going to be? But you know it's going to be between 1 and 0, right?
yeah.
Good work. What can I help you with? Write down the algorithm. I'm more interested in the algorithm. I want to see if you're understanding the algorithm stuff. Because that's what's really asking. It says apply the algorithm. Well, what am I doing? Am I subtracting a negative?
Yes.
When I subtract a negative, what's that like? I'm going right, it's like adding a positive. So ask yourself, which one has which one has a greater absolute value? Okay, so is it going to make it to the positives?
No.
No. So it's going to make it closer to 0. But it's still going to be negative.
Okay. So
Chase.
if I was doing 10, negative 5, and there's
Yeah, 15. Yeah, 15 difference. Well, which one was first? Okay. So think about it. If negative 10 is first, I have to add positive 15 to get to something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart, Trey.
So I was curious, does it stay in subtracting or do you change it to add?
You can, right? You can always change it to adding because if they're asking, you can always change it to adding. So this would be a negative minus a positive, so you can almost say a negative plus a negative, right? So that positive number becomes a negative number. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, they're exactly the same. Subtracting a positive is like adding a negative.
Right.
Yep. That's really smart.
Hold on.
Okay, well, so which one has a greater absolute value? One has greater than 2 in absolute value terms?
Oh, no.
So, because you're subtracting a negative, it's like, So your answer is going to be from positive 1/2. Yeah. Or positive half. Sorry, not 1/2. Positive half. Yeah, that's. So, if I am subtracting the negative, what's that one? Adding the positive. So now ask yourself, which one has a greater absolute value? This one or that one? Which one's further from 0? Okay, so because that's further from 0, are you going to be, because I'm subtracting it, which is like adding, is my answer going to be positive or negative? Positive. Because this has a greater absolute value than that. And I'm subtracting it and it's negative. That means it's like adding. So that's going to have greater absolute value. So the answer is going to be positive. Does that make sense? Remember that on this one, okay? Keep working. Now, these are good.
Hey, Dan.
Really cool. Now I'm back. Hey, when you go ahead, you get warm up done and you copy everything down. Go grab your sheet. You're doing a great job. I'd like to see you get further. Come on. You're on E now. You started strong. End strong. What are you confused about? So you're wondering about this one here. So here, that's number 2. I'm subtracting the positive. So ready, look back here. Subtracting the positive number, so that means it's going to become more negative. So this is going to get, where is it? This is going to get even more negative. That's why you got to bring your own.
No, mine fell out.
You don't need to have a super sharp pencil to do math. It's just
I know.
okay. Yours is already working.
What the book?
All right, guys. Is this equal to that? Okay? is what I'd like you to do. Do it yourself, and then I would like you to talk to your partner. But when you go to talk to your partner, okay, let's use some of these ways, like I disagree, I agree. And if you say you agree, say why. Why do you agree? Okay, go for it. Do it yourself. No, it's not the exit. Exit will be next.
No, they're not because there's both
The same number. They're both positive.
That was good. So I heard Hayden and Trey both noticed. They both noticed, like, okay, they're the same numbers. Positive, 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 positive. Same numbers. They're just switched. And then I heard Hayden say, you can't do that with the community of property. Or no, you can't do that with subtraction. You can't just switch numbers. And the same numbers. Right? So, here's my next question. Go ahead and switch them, but change this operation to addition and make it work. Go. Go. Talk to your partner.
It works
Subtracting positive, adding negative. And there you go. So in order for you guys to make this over here, it needed to be a negative 21. Right? So all I did is I kept this value. I changed, because subtracting a positive is like adding a negative. So that becomes addition. That becomes a negative 21. Now I can do the commutative property. And that's what it needed to be, not that. Please get your planners out. Your homework for tonight. Travis, get your planner out. Or write it somewhere in that binder, because you're going to be taking that home. 37B, 39A, 39B, 39D, all on page 46. Okay, and then you can start on that exit ticket. I'm giving back some papers. You want to put these papers in your resources, except for your warm-up goes in the warm-up. But your assessments go in your resources. Hazel, Cooper, that goes in resources. Daniel, Chase, Hayden, resources, Carter, Harper. Remember to get the warm-up done, the exit ticket. You got about 3 minutes. Paula, Brady, Jason, Tyler, Travis. This goes in the warm-up. Those assessments, guys, your assessments go in your resources. Okay, put those in resources. And then your exit tickets go in your... Yeah, warm-up and exit ticket. So if you don't get back a warm-up and exit, that means I didn't get it. know. Totally forgot I was going to, and I totally forgot. I will. I'm going to get better at that. No, but I'm going to try. I'm going to really try. So if you did not get a warm-up back, an exit ticket, that means I don't have it. You need to make sure you get it to me. You know where to find them. They're all on Google Classroom. Okay, let's talk about this. Write an algorithm for each expression. What's the algorithm? Give me the pieces that we already know.
It's a small positive minus a big negative equals. Oh wait, no.
So here we have, we're minusing a positive, and it's equaling a negative. So what's this? Fallon.
A big negative. Smaller.
Well, it's going to be a smaller negative than that, right? Because I'm going there. Yep, there you go.
Oh, I did a smaller positive. Minus a bigger negative.
If it's a smaller positive, am I going to make it to negative 31? No. So it has to be negative. Okay? It has to be negative. Do you understand that, Harper? Like, yeah, if I put a positive here and I subtract 27, yeah, I could get a negative number. But am I going to make it all the way to 31? No.
Well, you could.
Only if I start out in negatives.
Oh.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a smaller negative in absolute value terms minus a larger positive in absolute value terms, which is 27. That's going to equal this big negative. What about... Oh, no. Out of time. All right, guys. Make sure to put your stuff away.
Isn't it a small negative?
Yeah.
Minus a big
Yeah.
negative?